Do you know what? Now it's getting cold in the UK, but seeing as it's a nice day, I thought I'd come down by the seaside here to Muddyford Quay, where I do my little beginner's workshop, because it's a beautiful place. But I wanted to have a chat with you about goals. I'm often saying to you about, it's a good idea to set yourself a goal, set yourself a challenge, because it gets you up off your backside and stops you drinking coffee and out into the environment, because it's taking action that really does make the difference. I was at the Extra Mile Partnerships Mastermind Day yesterday, and there's something on the wall which just caught my attention. It said, a goal without action is only an idea. And I love that, because it is in the action that the fulfillment happens. Now, if you've looked at my photos very much, you know that I like shooting in colour. I like colours. I like bright, shiny colours. It's just me. So I thought we'd come down here and I'd set myself a little photo challenge and see if I can shoot some black and white. Now, this means changing the thought process. That means changing those 7 building blocks of photography up here in your head, because black and white requires a slightly different way of thinking. We've got to look for things that will work in black and white. We've got to pre-visualise. We've got to imagine what something might look like. So I'm just going to finish my coffee. You can have a little look at the view over there of the Isle of Wight, because it does look rather lovely, and I'll see you in a second. Sorry if I startled you there. Now, as you know, the key to all photography is in here. The key to everything in the world is a thought, because if somebody hadn't thought about putting tables in a car park out here outside a pub or a restaurant, there wouldn't be any tables. There'd be nowhere for you to sit. You'd all be standing around eating your fish and chips and stuff, wouldn't you? So the first thing to do if you're going to set yourself a challenge, so I've set myself the black and white challenge, is to walk around and look at things, to try and figure out what's going to work in black and white. Now, the thing I couldn't help but notice is textures and light. We've got a very low angled sun. You can tell the sun's at a low angle because look at the angle at which it's hitting my face. And we've got textures. We've got this tabletop, we've got the wood, we've got cobblestones down here. Let me see if I can show you what we've got by using this video camera here. Hang on a moment, I just need to change something because I haven't got my settings quite right. I was fiddling around with something earlier. I was looking at, there we go, standard. I'm looking at my picture control settings. I very rarely move these, so of course I'm now in a right old mess, aren't I? I'll be back in a moment. Found it, fixed it. Right, let's have a look. So what I'm looking at, let's put my glasses up here, is, if I can get that in focus, roll my video, which I always fight with, don't I? There we go. Now look, you see on the table, we got these textures and shapes here, haven't we? I think my exposure's a little too high for you. That was going up, let's go down a bit. There we go, that looks better. So we've got textures and shapes. We've got that number 27, which is pretty strong. I kind of like that. But we've also got these lines. We've got these patterns down here in the cobbles. We've also got these seats, which I kind of like. Now, I don't know how they're going to work, but from this angle, they obviously don't. It's all kind of a little bit mishy-mashy, wishy-washy, if that's in focus for you. But what I think would work well is if it was a very graphically shaped shot. So if I just move that and climb up here, look, I think that's getting more interesting. I don't really like that shadow, but there's not much I can do about that for the minute. The thing is to try things. I'm going to zoom in a bit. Now I like that shape. I do wish the shadow wasn't there, but it is. Move my foot. We don't want that in shot, do we? But I think the shot's something like that. So let's just kill the video off and have a little lash at this, shall we? What sort of depth of field do I want? Well, do I want the background, do I want the cobble soft or sharp? Well, the thing is you can do both, can't you? And depending on what aperture you've got on your lens, I'm going to go somewhere there, and I think I'm going to shoot it something like that. I kind of like that. Let's check my histogram. I love checking a histogram, and that says to me, we've got it. That's nailed it. I'm shooting raw files. raw files are in colour, because I'm not going to invest in having one of the filters removed out of my camera so that the raw files are in black and white. So it's kind of tricky. You have to kind of think your way through this. I might give you a little tip towards the end. There's ways to do it, but I think that's quite nice. And what we're going to do, we're going to take it back and maybe a couple of others. We'll put them into Lightroom in part 2, and you can watch me make them into black and whites and just sort of follow my ongoing thought process through that. Let's go see if I can find another black and white for you. Light. It always plays an important part in any kind of photography, but probably especially so with black and white. Now, I know I'm pretty much a silhouette for you guys right now because, look, I've got a great big bright sun going on up here somewhere behind me. Why is this attracting me? Well, look what I've got here. I've got these little spiky white railings, and what's going on inside here in my brilliant brain is that backlit. We've got white railings, they're being backlit, so the light on this side of the railings is going to be really subtle and really interesting. But on the other side of the path, we've got shade. We've got shade going on down there. So what I'm seeing in my head is a detail sort of a shot. I'm seeing light and shade. I'm seeing a very shallow depth of field and using that as part of the composition. Positioning the backlit white posts against the darker area of this perimeter wall and the shadow that it's casting in this direction. So let's have a little lash at this. Now, I have done a lens change. I know you're used to seeing me use an 18 to 55. Part of my challenge just now was I thought, why don't I stick the 55 to 200 on, make this a longer lens shot. Let's compress things up a bit. Let's make the background a little bit more blurry, play around with that depth of field. And I think it'll work because in black and white, shapes and textures and details often work nicely. I'm going to stick this out on full zoom, 200, and let's see what we can find through the camera. Now, let's get something focused up. Bit of video. I think we're good, yes. So look, here is, I think the focus is doing weird things. See if I can switch off the auto. That's a bit better. Now, as you can see, it's a little bit too bright at the moment. So let's just take that exposure down a tad. Something there, it's too dark. But I think you can see what I'm thinking. You see I've got a line of grey there, followed by the dark line, followed by the white line, and the shapes. Now, if I was to zoom that out a little bit more, and then possibly see if I can get a very, very selective focus, which is very difficult to do with the video, onto just one part of the post, convert that to black and white, and I think it could be just an interesting little study in light. Let's give it a lash, shall we? I think I've stopped the video. Do you know what? I can't see a damn thing now because I've been looking into the sun. Here we go. So where am I going to focus? I'm going to focus, I don't know, I don't want to put the interesting bit right in the middle, but I also don't want to sort of be too obvious with where I do put it. I want a bit more of the length of the railings in there. I need to be closer, I think, to what I want. How's this? No, I'm not quite getting it. So you have to move around, find the place that works. I reckon it's somewhere here. There we go. Like that. I'm really pleased with that. I love the way the light is just subtly wrapping around those. So let's go and see if I can find just one more. I'm enjoying my challenge. Yes, I know, I'm doing it again, aren't I? I'm putting the sun behind myself. I can't help it, I just love it. I just love putting the sun behind things. So what's caught my attention now? Well, it's this flag. Let me see if I can see it in the monitor. Where is it? Where's my arm? There. See that little flag just there, right? That is what is catching my attention because the sun's coming in from behind it. The light is really, really interesting. It's bringing out the shapes and the textures of the flag. The sun is also quite hazy. I haven't got the camera around quite far enough for you to see it because I don't think you're able to see me at all. This has been a tricky one, by the way. The muses have not been upon me this afternoon. I've really had to work hard and push myself to try and find some black and white images. Let's take this shot and then I can show it to you and then we'll have a little chat in a minute. So, where do I need to be? That's the first question. Let's just kind of see if we can get some video on the scene. Or like that, just straight off, look. Right, I don't know why, but my camera refuses to focus properly. Let's just see if we can get something going on here. Here we go. That's a bit better for you. Look how the light is coming in through those flags. It looks really awesome. And then when you bring the sun with that bit of haze behind it into the equation, I think it's quite interesting. So I'm going to turn that up the other way. And what I'm thinking is probably I quite like those dark silhouette-y shapes below. Let's see if we can just bend the knees and sort of line things up slightly differently. Maybe take it in a little closer. It's kind of a thing of silhouette, flag and sun. That's something like that I want. Let's see if I can focus that up for you a bit. There we go, I think that's better. That's kind of the look I'm going for. I just think it'll look quite nice. It's the light on the flag that I find exciting. Right, so let's try shooting it. Have I stopped the video? I have, I'm getting better at this. Right, so how do we do this? Where do I want to focus? What do I want to do? I'm going to focus on the flagpole. The flagpole is the bit I'm interested in. I might try a couple of slightly different versions. Do I want to try and make a starburst? There's quite a bit of haze around that sun, as you just saw, and I don't think it will starburst. So I'm not too worried about it, because also too much starburst will take the attention away from the flag, and that's the bit I'm interested in. So the exposure could go fairly dark, because it's all about the flag and it'll help the flag stand out. Let's just have a little lash and see what happens. The light on that flag is just gorgeous. I truly love it. Right, bend my knees, get myself lined up. You know what, I'm just going to go for a shot of flag and sun. I don't really think I want that lumpy metal bit in there after all. It's just good. Come forward a bit. Focus on the flag. Let's get lower, get the light coming through it. Let's turn it the other way, see how it looks. No. It's finding the right place. I've got to do the weird photographer stance here. Okay, let's take that one. About there. That's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. So why weren't the muses upon me? I don't know. It's just the way it is sometimes. And that's why it's good to set a bit of a challenge, particularly when it's something you don't normally do. It's also an extra challenge for me here because it's a place I come a lot, so I'm a little bit blasé about it, even though it's a lovely little place. Anyway, without further ado, let's go back to the studio. Let's go and have a little look at this. Let's go and see what the pictures are like. If you've enjoyed this video, please, love to hear some comments below. If you'd like to subscribe to my newsletter, you can get a free article which goes with all of these videos. There's a link up above, or it's at photographycourses.biz/ whatever it says on the screen now, because I can't remember. Anyway, please like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next time. Take care.